everybody. And it is a good morning, even though it might not appear so in terms of the weather. We've come to a place where we're inadvertently expecting a realisation, a healing, an understanding, a message of hope, of guidance. And none of this we actually know. But we've come here because something has drawn us here. We may have come here because, in my case, I was asked to come. We may have come here because we play a part in doing the music. We may have come here because we are setting up and chairing a service. But as equally important is your presence here. Albeit that you're few in numbers, your presence here is really important, because the message that I have to bring is not just for you here, it is for all of those out there that are not here. So for my message that will touch your ears today will also touch all of those out there that you will come into contact with, simply because you may not take on board what is being said. You may not even agree with what's going to be said, but you will take it out there into your life, into the universe, as you communicate with others. You will either say, I heard, I saw, I believed, I didn't, I will, I won't. And all of these things you will put into action as we speak to you today. Now, my journey in particular has been a long one. And sometimes it feels like it's getting longer, and sometimes it feels like it's getting shorter. And there are many times, like all of us, when I've decided, I think I've had enough now. I'm not talking about life, although I can be honest and say that at least at some point in my life, I did get to that stage where I thought I'd had enough of life. And I'm sure everyone in this room and everybody on this planet, if we're honest, has got to that stage at some point. But in terms of your spiritual journey, there are many times when I've thought, nah, I think I've done enough now. I can't see the point in continuing. I've served my community well, my spiritual community, and I've listened to those in spirit who have guided me. But every time I get to that point, I seem to turn a corner when something else is presented to me to do this work in a slightly different way. So it's a message of hope, but it's also a message that's telling me not to give up, that there is a journey and it's a continuous journey. And we could start here and discuss, perhaps agree and disagree, about where that journey goes when the physical body decides it's had enough. But it's a belief system. Where we go when we've finished here is a belief system. It's either something you've been taught, it's either something you've read, or it's something that you've come to understand within yourself through your own meditation and your own connection with those in spirit. Either way, it's a belief system. And when we're talking about belief, what we need to acknowledge is the belief in ourselves. First and foremost, it has to be the belief in ourselves to carry us forward, to keep putting one step in front of the other, to try and find a new way of being in this world. Because let's face it, this isn't an easy world to live in. Or is it? Again, that's a belief system. We listen to and we hear and sometimes read that this life is not an easy life, that it is difficult, and you only have to turn a telly on and listen to the news, which I've stopped doing, to hear all the drama that's being played out in life. And we get caught up in that. So then you become part of the drama, and drama becomes part of you. So let's see where this takes you. Is your life being impacted by the drama that's in the world? Are you allowing the drama to impact you in how you are in the world? Because one of the things that is the most important thing, that if we learn anything, regardless of skill or belief, if we learn anything, the most important thing to learn is to just be. And yet we find that incredibly hard. Because as youngsters we were told we had to achieve, we had to do, we had to be part of a household, we had jobs to do, we couldn't just sit around. But as you grow older, something tells you that that's not necessary to be always on the go. But what does just being mean? It doesn't mean to stop and just become a couch potato. It doesn't mean to not have motivation in something that you want to do in life. It doesn't mean not to be a part of a community. Being means being still. Regardless of what you're doing, you could actually be active, you could be gardening, you could be walking, you could be shopping, you could be in conversation. But you still need to learn the art of being still. Being still is an internal thing. It's not an external thing, it's an internal thing. Most people, when they're in conversation, are already formulating what it is that they want to say, their response. Because they want to be heard. They have a story to tell. And whatever they're listening to in conversation has triggered a memory that they can relate to in their own life. So they want to put their point across. So while you're formulating all this in your head and someone's talking to you, you're actually not hearing anything that's being said. And while that's being said and you're not listening, you're missing all the little signs that are coming to you in various ways that are saying to you, take this next turn, take this next step. Because all the while you're being busy in your head, in yourself, and you're not being still. So what we're essentially talking about is mindfulness, being mindful, being present in every moment. Now that may seem to you that, well, I need to be thinking about what I need to be doing. I need to be planning what the next step is. Actually, that's not the case. You might have an idea. You might have a dream. You might have a wish. You might want to achieve something. I'm sure you do. Whether it be, I'm going to have a good day today, or I'm planning a holiday for next year, or I want a better job, or I want to decorate my house. You'll have a dream, you'll have a plan. But all of these things take time to manifest. And they take time to manifest simply because you are not listening. You are not being still. You can put whatever you want out there into the universe and it's already there. But unless you actually work on your own vibration and build that vibration up so it matches what you've put out there, it's not going to happen in the time and space that you require it to happen. So let's give an example. If you're putting out for more money and you're constantly worrying about how much you've got to spend, the next bill that's going to come in, the rent, the food, should I do this, should I have a holiday, should I... You're constantly lowering your vibration, so you're never going to meet what it is that you put out for. You're not going to be a match because you're not raising that vibration. Let's say you're putting out for good health. One of my affirmations over the years on a daily basis is, I'm a happy, healthy, whole and healed being of light. Now, I say that every day, just once a day. If I feel the need that I want to say it again, I will say it again to remind myself. So that's there. It's already there. It's a hologram, if you like, of who I am. But unless I work with that vibration, if I whinge and complain about every ache and pain, and believe me, when you get older, there's plenty of them. But if I do that, then I'm never going to match this that I've put out for. So if your life is a continuous struggle, if you're always finding that you seem to be hitting brick walls, if you don't like the people in your life, and I say that in all honesty, if we're all honest, there are some people you just don't resonate with. Some people you really struggle with. It's just a mirror. It's just telling you that you're not listening to what's going on within you. You're not being still. And being still is the key to every door that you want to open. So every time I've taken a turn on my spiritual path, it's not necessarily been something that I've actually visualized. People say, well, everything that's come into your life, you must have manifested, you visualized it. Maybe I did. Maybe in another life. I don't know. But certainly there are things that have come into my life, especially in the last 2 or 3 years, in terms of my work and my change in thinking. I didn't sit down and plan it. I didn't say, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do, I think I might change my thinking about this. These are things that are like seeds, I guess, that were planted at some point that have grown. And they've come out of the blue, as it appears. Just when I'm at the point where I think, do I need to continue? Is it time to hang up the boots? Is it time to have a rest? And I know you've all got to that place, because you wouldn't be here today and listening to this otherwise. So what is it that you need to do? You need, first of all, to find out what mindfulness is all about, and make that the foundation of every single thing you do in your life. Because the mindfulness will bring you clarity of mind. It will bring you a sense of peace. It will bring you a sense of stillness within. No matter what drama is going on in your life. And once you start to practice that and build on that, you will then find that those corners that you need to turn, those things that you need to do, the people that need to be in your life, the ones that you need to walk away from, it will just happen for you. Because you can't believe in something like a connection to the universe and spirit guides and so forth and so on, and not act out what you believe. Otherwise you don't believe it. And if you don't believe it, and you're coming to a place like this where you're trying to gain understanding and looking for hope and a message of healing, then you're working against the universe. You're working against your sense of peace. You're working against a sense of being still. We all come to a point in our life where, for whatever reason, we're here. And as I say, my journey's been a long one, and those of you who don't know me would not know that I started when I was a child, not knowing. I only see that now because I look back and I realise what took place, not knowing this was going to be my journey. Never asked for it. Was painfully shy. Could never have stood up and spoken in public. But there was obviously a mission. There was obviously a path. There was obviously a journey. How that plays out depends on how we are in the world. It depends depends on how we interact with self, because self is most important. It's not selfish. It's not even selfless. It's just self. What does self require? And it's that need to connect with self that is most important. Because connecting with self will help us to be still. And in being still is where we will find what it is that we need to take the next step. And you will get to a stage in your life at some point where you won't even be thinking about what's the next step or how should I do this, because you'll just intuitively know, because it will come to you and it will stand out. You'll feel it in every cell of your being. But unless you learn to be still, you're not going to do that. You're always going to be fighting against what it is that you're meant to be doing in this world. So I can say to you that if I took a step back today and said this would be my last platform, I know that that's not the case, but I think I do. How do I know that? I'm only going from memory, I'm only going from experience. I don't know what's round the corner. You think, being a spiritual medium, being in this work, that I would know what's round the corner. I don't. But that's the blessing that I've come to understand. That's the gift that I have been given. Not from anything external, but from myself. I've given this gift to myself through hard work, through practice at being still, knowing that for every moment of my life, if there's something that needs to change, I will know it. I will understand it. It's the reverence of being at one with oneself that is important. Not what gifts you can develop. Not how popular you are. Not how many people that you can reach. It's the reverence of being still with oneself. And if you can do that, then you know that you are connected to the whole. And if you are connected to the whole, you should know that everything you need will just be presented to you. I'll leave it with you.